Okay, I believe that we are ready. Kahal Kadosh. Good morning, everyone. Beruchim Aba'im. Today, Thursday, the 9th of Adar, corresponding to the, I believe, the second day of March. Today's class, graciously sponsored by Michael Gindi of Atlanta, Georgia, Le'ayu Nishmat, his beloved father, Yehuda ben Ezra Cohen, as well as by Yaakov Kobi Cohen, Le'ayu Nishmat, Moshe Kishk, Moshe ben Bahia alav Shalom. Additionally, today, special breakfast and class, graciously sponsored by Shai Segev and family, Le'ayu Nishmat, David ben Shushan ben Zohara. Yiratzon that to the Werachot and the Shi'ur and the Berachot will create an aliyah to his neshama in Gan Eden. Amen. So I'd like to discuss a couple of ideas concerning Shabbat Zachor. So we know well that Shabbat Zachor is always the Shabbat that precedes Purim, and it's called Zachor. The Kahal, I'm sure, knows the answer, based on the Maftir rather, that we are going to be reading this Shabbat, Shabbat Perashat Zachor. Perashat Zachor is the Maftir of Perashat Ki Tetzeh LaMilchama in Sefer Devarim, and is only a handful of Pesukim. We'll discuss a couple of halachic concepts, and then we'll discuss the deeper meaning of Shabbat Zachor Perashat Amalek. Number one, the Halacha writes, according to most opinions, Perashat Zachor is a Mizvat Aseh Mideoraita, is a positive commandment from the Torah to erase the name of Amalek, which we really don't know who Amalek is. We knew who Amalek was, but in a few moments we'll discuss that actually we all know Amalek, and some of us have a very good relationship with Amalek. So we need to change that very soon. Just stay tuned, enjoy the magnificent breakfast that is in front of you, and I will do the talking and you will do the eating. Let's continue. The Pasuk, the Halacha writes, that is ideal that everyone listens to the Perashat Zachor according to their traditions. If it's Sephardic, Sephardic. If it's Ashkenazic, Ashkenazic. Since we are a very international congregation, as we have done in the past, we are going to have an additional reading of Perashat Zachor after the reading of the Perashat Zachor for the Minyan, for those who follow the Ashkenazic tradition, and they need to hear it according to their concept, because the ta'amim are different, the pronunciation is different, and there are certain peculiarities which are applicable in the Ashkenazic tradition which are not applicable to the Sephardic tradition. Wow. That's number one. Number two, concerning the wonderful ladies of the community. As we learned earlier in the week, according to the opinion of Hacham Rabbi Yosef and many others, ladies also should make the effort of coming to the synagogue to listen to Perashat Zachor. He goes even further, and it says that if there is a minyan of ladies that they did not listen to Perashat Zachor, you're allowed to open the Sefer Torah, read Perashat Zachor for the ladies, obviously without saying Beracha before and after, for many halachic reasons. So you'll see, Be'ezrat Hashem, in this week's schedule, that we highlight all the extra readings of Perashat Zachor, especially Shabbat afternoon, that many ladies that don't come in the morning come in the afternoon for the class, for Mincha, Saudah Shirishit, Arvit and Abdallah. So we're going to also ask the audience if there is a group of 10 ladies or men and more. We're going to do the reading of Zachor immediately after Mincha, so everybody is able to fulfill this particular mitzvah. Coincidentally enough, the Haftarah of this Shabbat is actually the Haftarah from the book of Shmuel HaNavi. Shmuel HaNavi 1. Which Aftara is this? The famous Aftara that discusses the waging of the war against Amalek in the time of Shaul HaMelech, and the unfortunate incident that happened in that particular Aftara, in that particular period of Jewish history, that Shaul HaMelech failed to remove the king of Amalek, known Agag. Agag is mentioned in Megillat Esther. Haman Rasha ben Amedata Ha'agagi. Ha'agagi means he was a direct descendant of Agag. That was the Gentile king from Amalek that Shaul failed to execute when he had finished getting rid of a lot of the members of the nation of Amalek. I will discuss in a few moments the whole idea of Amalek, because I think that is important to know why so much emphasis is given to a nation that we don't even know who it is today. If we ask the audience, tell me which nation is Amalek, no one can give you the correct answer.
Iran.
No. 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 Many years back was Germany. Germania, the Gemara mentions it. Germania Shebe Edom. That's how the Gemara calls it. And there is a lot, Germania with a mem, and there is a lot of similarities of how Germany was in the time of the Talmud and how Germany was during and prior to the Holocaust. That's a whole separate shiur. But the reality of life is that, you know, even when you ask someone, who is Gog and Magog? No one can tell you. When I was a child, and the teacher asked us in the Kitab, who is Gog and Magog? You know what everybody said? Russia and the United States. Leonid Brezhnev and whoever was in his time. Alav Shalom. Remember him? Okay, maybe it was before you were born. But I remember him. I remember in the 70s, the famous Cold War. So we all jumped and said, 10 years later we said, no. Iran and Iraq. 10 years later we said, no, India and Pakistan. 10 years later we said another nation. Now we said China and Taiwan. Who knows? Listen, don't minimize China.
Against the Jews?
Against the world.
Oh, that's different.
All right. Okay. Listen, it's a whole, you know, the China, how do you call China in Hebrew? Sin. What's the meaning of the word sin in English? Transgressions. They are the innovators and founders of TikTok. The disastrous app. If you don't know what it is, better. But it's about to be banned in the United States. I'm giving you inside information on my contacts in Washington. It's coming. It's a great beracha. It's a great beracha because you have no clue how much it's affecting the life of people in an adverse fashion. People lost parnasah, people lost family, people lost spouses, people are losing children because of this TikTok. Usually in my childhood, when TikTok was a watch or was a bomb about to explode, Hamavdil, right? That's how it was. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. Not to be confused with the candy, tic-tac. That's a whole different shiur, which makes sure that it has ashgaha. If it doesn't have ashgaha, you cannot eat it. It's a serious problem of kashrut when it comes to the candy. The one from England comes with supervision, the one in Israel, but in America, I'm not sure if it has. At least in my olden days, it didn't have. Let's continue back. Nothing to do with China or TikTok or tic-tac. Has to do with Haman and Amalek. So we know the unfortunate tragedy of the Aftara of today, that based on the Aftara of Amalek failing to execute Agag, Shaul HaMelech lost the kingdom. It wasn't lost, it was removed from him. God says, I don't like you anymore. Do you understand what that means? That God says, I don't like someone? That's not common. Sure, you can be on that list if you're drunk, you get angry, you have addictions, and you mock people, that's automatically qualification to be on the undesired list by God. One additional fellow, Shaul HaMelech. God says, I despised him because he failed to finish his mission. He did it 98%. He's like a guy who put himself a challenge, okay, of 24 hours of speaking positive and nice. True story, it happened in Los Angeles. He put himself a self-imposed commitment. For 24 hours, I will say only positive and nice things. No lashon hara, no cursing, no lying, no screaming, no yelling. Can you imagine? 23 hours and 52 seconds, 23 hours and 52 minutes, he couldn't control himself. And he lost it. He's there, almost there, 7 more minutes. And your life could have been different. That's what happened with Shaul. He was there. But what was the side effect of Shaul's lack of action? That because of him, Haman was born. That night that Agag was left alive, he impregnated his wife.
How did he get them? Wasn't he?
Very simple. He had rahamim on him.
No, how did he get to his wife?
Oh, they were captured. They were put together in a room, and she wasn't executed because her background was not Amalek. So she was spared. That night she got pregnant. The next day Shmuel came and got rid of Agag. That's what's written in the holy books. I said this shiur in Rosh Chodesh. Remember the lineup of Mordechai ben Kish. Ish Yemini, from the tribe of Binyamin, descendant of Kish. Who was Kish? The father of Shaul HaMelech. So Mordechai is a direct great-grandson of Shaul. Agag is the great-grandfather of Haman. So the first movie was Agag and Shaul. The sequel was Mordechai and Haman. Comes Mordechai and finishes the tikkun, or makes finishes the unfinished mission of Shaul HaMelech. Chabod. This is the background of the history. So this Haftarah of Shabbat is the introduction to Megillat Esther.
Was Shaul forgiven now for what he did?
Yes, of course he was forgiven. But he paid a price. God says, I don't like you anymore. He lost the kingdom. And let's be honest, that Shaul was a mega tzaddik. The Pasuk writes in the book of Shmuel, Ben Shana Shaul leMolcho. Shaul was 1 year old when he became the king of Israel. So the question is, how could it be? Short answer, he had as many sins as a 1-year-old child. How many sins a 1-year-old child has? 0. This was Shaul. He was the tallest man of Israel, and he was very humble. He was very humble. The Pasuk writes, Nehba el Kerim. He hid of the spotlight. And he was told, you are the king of Israel. You cannot be so humble. You need to activate the power that God gave you to lead the Jewish people. He did it. But regretfully, in the quest against Agag and Amalek, that was one of the setbacks of Shaul HaMelech. Now, if we are saying that the Haftarah of Shabbat Zachor is the introduction to Mordechai and Haman, let's remember that the decree of Haman to get rid of the Jewish people that was approved by Ahasuerus without any hesitation. I say this because many people think, oh, Ahasuerus was a simple person. He was not simple. Ahasuerus appointed Haman to do the dirty work for him. That's it. This was Ahasuerus. Number one. Number two, the decree of Haman against the Jewish people wasn't only against the men or the Torah observant. The Navis, the Megillat Esther says, Taf benashim, minda'ar be'ad zaken, Taf benashim beyom echad. Men, women, and children in a single day execution. So what does it mean? That the miracle of Purim, it wasn't only the survival of the men or the Jewish people, but it was also the survival of the ladies. So therefore, ladies also need to celebrate Purim and need to do the mitzvot of Purim and must listen to the Megillah at night and in the daytime. And for this reason, they also need to come to the synagogue and listen to Perashat Zachor as long as they can. If for some reason someone cannot come to Perashat Zachor for physical reasons, let's say, or distance, etc., read it from the Chumash. Open Perashat Kitetze, the Maftir in Sefer Devarim, and you will be able to read it. Sefer Devarim, chapter 25, verse 17, 18, 19. 3 verses, I say this again. Devarim 25, verses 17 through 19. I'm speaking a lot today about Perashat Zachor because tomorrow I will have to give you a shorter than usual class because I have to. If I say that I have to, it's because I have to deal with a situation that I cannot afford to come in late without going into details. So you understand more or less what I mean. So for that, that's now. So I'm going to speak more about Zachor. Now I have a couple of notes that the mitzvah of Zachor, it has two elements, the positive commandment and the negative commandment. What is the positive? What the Pasuk says, Zachor, remember. Remember means positive, like Shabbat. Zachor et yom ha-Shabbat lekadesho. Remember the day of the Shabbat to sanctify it. Do you know how you remember the day of the Shabbat? You start remembering the Shabbat Sunday morning. Hayom yom echad b'Shabbat Kodesh. Hayom yom sheni. Hayom yom hamishi, today. Every time you say this sentence, you're fulfilling a positive commandment of the Torah. Remember the day of the Shabbat to sanctify. Yani you're still digesting the mahshi, or the yebra, or the cholen, or the dafina, I don't know, Moroccan cholen, fasulia, whatever it may be. Okay, of course, also, right? What do they call it? Osho, the Bukharian, Jahnun, cholen, whatever. Hameen, thank you. Whatever menu you have on Shabbat, and already on Sunday they're telling you, be ready, in 6 days from now you're going to do the same. That's called Zachor, to remember. And whenever the Torah tells us the word Zachor, it's a powerful message to the point. I'm not going to talk about this today, but I'm going to throw something on the table. There is something found in the Sidurim called Eser Zechirot. There are 10 items that a person must remember daily. One of them is Shabbat. Another one is Amalek. Look in the Sidurim. Every day, yes, that's one. In Arabic, right. What does that mean? Al-horror upon him. The word Amalek in Arabic, Amalek, is a curse.
Yes.
I'm not happy to say it, but that's how sometimes people speak in Arabic. I know a lot of these words, which obviously we don't use, but one of them is this one. Why is it called Amalek? Because of Amalek. Yani you wish it to the worst enemy.
Yes.
That's a curse.
Blindly.
God forbid. God forbid. You have the essence of Zachor? Give me the short version. Thank you. So I'll give it to you very quickly. This is found in many Sidurim. After Alenu Leshabeach, there is extra curriculum reading Al Tira Mipachat Pitom, Al Tira Yaakov, LeDavid, Bayomer, and then you have 13 Ekarim of Emunah, and then you have 10 things that you must remember daily. You cannot forget. I say this daily, and you fulfill many mitzvot in a minute. I'll go very quickly. Remembering the exodus of Egypt. Remember the day of the Shabbat. Remember the man that came down. Remember the actions of Amalek. Number 4, remember the giving of the Torah. Remember the misbehaving of our forefathers in the desert, including the sin of the golden calf. Remember the plot of Balak and Bil'am to hurt the Jewish people. Remember what happened to Miriam. In this case, it doesn't tell you the Lashon Hara. It tells you, remember what happened to Miriam? What happened to Miriam? She made a comment against Moshe Rabbeinu. She was punished with Lashon Hara. That's number 8. Number 9, remember that God is the one that gives you the strength to achieve your goals daily. And number 10, don't forget Yerushalayim. Okay? Tishalu oti mi ani. You know the song? That's a very beautiful song that I sang it a few months ago. This was the song sang, the words by many people that survived the Holocaust. Sang by Naftali Kempe. Beautiful song. What is the message of that song? That they asked the people that survived the Holocaust, how did you survive? It says one thing. We were thinking about Yerushalayim and Mashiach's arrival. Because we thought that after the Holocaust, 2 things will happen. One for sure. We're going to be able to run away to Israel, and hopefully Mashiach will come. That thought always had hope. Beautiful song. If you find it, learn it and sing it. Anyways, these are the 10 Zechirot. So we have first commandment. Remember, what is the second commandment? Lo tishkach. Don't forget. I ask you a question. Isn't remembering not forgetting?
Yes.
If I tell you, remember, that means don't forget. So why the Torah gives me 2 words? One answer perhaps can be given that the Torah is giving us an opportunity to fulfill double mitzvah. The positive mitzvah of remembering and the negative commandment of not forgetting. Guess what? The Gemara in Kiddushin says, mitzvot that have a specific time frame, ladies are exempt. For example, ladies are exempt of putting on talet and tefillin. Why? Because there is a specific time frame to do mitzvah. Ladies are not obligated to say the berachah, the lulav, and the etrog. If they want to, it's a whole different shiur. Ladies are exempt of eating in the sukkah. If they eat in the sukkah, they get a berachah, they get a mitzvah. But they are exempt. And that's how many people do. They have a small balcony. They put a long table. In the balcony where the sukkah is, sit the men. Inside of the apartment sits the ladies. Beautiful. Now, why in this mitzvot ladies are exempt? One answer. Mitzvah shazeman gerama. These are very sporadic mitzvot. But there is an exception. Mitzvah that affected the ladies. For example, Hanukkah. The miracle of Hanukkah benefited the ladies because the decree of the Greeks was against the ladies too. Worse than the men. Sure. Immorality. Any girl getting ready to be married, the night before the marriage, she will need to spend the night with the mayor of the town, what was a Greek general appointed by the army. Imagine yourself.
I thought it was the king.
No, not necessarily. That's a different story. Number 1, Purim, we already mentioned. And the war of Amalek against the Jewish people also was against the Jewish women. What do you think? That Hitler, Imach Shemo, didn't make a decree against the women? I'm not even going to tell you what was discovered recently. Some atrocities committed by the Third Reich against ladies. Don't ask. It's painful even to speak about it. To men also. So, bottom line, ladies are in the same boat as men in concerning Megillah, Hanukkah, Purim, and Zachor. Number one. Number two, there are two aspects of doing the mitzvah. Zachor, verbally, by you reading or listening to the reading of Zachor, you are fulfilling the mitzvah with your mouth. Lo tishkach is the mitzvah to the brain. You see? If I need to remember something, who remembers? The mouth or the brain? The brain. So the lo tishkach sechel, Zachor bapeh. Remember the mitzvah in your mouth by reading the reading of Zachor. I can add one more hidush. The mitzvah of erasing Amalek, because that's our tradition. When we're going to read Shabbat, Timche et Zecher Amalek, what do? We rub our feet or we stamp the feet on the ground. I knew a fellow who bought a pair of sneakers and he wrote on the sole of the sneakers Amalek. Every day he walks, he will erase the name of Amalek. You don't have to do it. Better Amalek than his mother-in-law. True story, by the way. True story. I know that I said something crazy. This question was asked to me.
What?
This question was asked to me. I said to him, you have to go to the mikveh probably and open your mouth inside of the mikveh. Let the water enter your mouth. Or maybe take a chili, Mexican, triple strong peppers, jalapeno, but the jalapeno. You know, not the jalapeno from Publix, the jalapeno from Chihuahua. Okay? Or Yucatan, la peninsula de Yucatan. From Merida, right. It says, why, Rabbi, if you know my mother-in-law, you will not say this. I said, respectfully speaking, I don't even know your mother-in-law's maiden name. I mean, I know the family because I know his wife. But I said, I see your wife, and I see how good she raises the children. What do you think? That it's you who is doing great in your kids? With this mindset, you probably are a troublemaker at home. What, my wife called you? He tells me this. I said, no. So why do you say this? Because look at the way you're talking. You're going to say, God forbid, that Amalek is your mother-in-law. I'll tell you more story. A son-in-law said to his wife, sweetheart, this is a joke. Okay? Sweetheart, you don't need to bring maror for the seder. Why not? Because your mother is coming. True story, by the way. This is a true story. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. I know that it's funny and I love my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law loves me a lot because I'm a nice guy, Baruch Hashem.
She makes you famous stuff.
She asks me, Yosef, are you coming for lunch? What would you like for lunch? So I said, it depends. If my wife comes, make sure to do healthy. If she doesn't come, I'll tell you what to do. She did on Jedra the other day. And in a more serious note, mother-in-laws, the Lacha writes, why you have to honor your in-laws like you honor your parents? Because when you honor your in-laws, you are honoring your wife. But if the wife knows that her husband, God forbid, despises her parents, she suffers tremendously. Big time. So we love the mother-in-laws, we love the father-in-laws, we love everyone, So whatever they say, the word moson and just since we are close to Purim and happiness is one of the components, so we started warming him up just in case my mother-in-law, by the way, my mother-in-law and father-in-law watch me every day. He says, Yosef, I saw you on YouTube, because somebody puts these classes in YouTube, and you mentioned something that I need clarity. Okay, that's beautiful, I don't mind. I go through this often. You know, sometimes people ask questions, etc. The other day I got a wonderful email from a Gentile. Don't know who this person is. Very nice email, warm email, thanking and saying certain things in a good way. So I answered to him, thank you for the warm email, etc. You don't have to worry about being a Gentile. Remain a Gentile. There is no obligation for you to go and to change all your entire life. Just be a good, decent, moral person. Treat people respectfully. Believe in God. Do always what's right and proper. And pray in your language. Open the book of Psalms, Tehillim, read it in Spanish, in English, whatever language you have. And this is your connection to God. You don't have to worry that you live in somewhere up north and there is no synagogue next to you, an Orthodox rabbi to do anything. There is no need for you to do any of the above. Just be a righteous Gentile, a good, decent person, and your mission is fulfilled accordingly. These things do happen 100%. And this is what Hashem wants from the universal world. God is not looking to proselyte. Jewish people, we don't proselyte. We don't go out to promote conversions and to go out, etc. We promote goodness. We promote kindness. We promote good moral behavior. That's what the universal laws, the Noahide laws exist. But I'd like to continue further, with your permission, a few more minutes, especially we began the class later than usual, being Thursday. So I'd like to bring Amalek from a whole different perspective, which I think that after I say what I need to say, everyone will agree that Amalek regretfully is alive and active, and really no one is immune from the threats of Amalek. So I'm going to just highlight one or two words from Amalek's behavior. Right away the Pasuk writes, remember what Amalek did to you when you left Egypt. Second Pasuk, Asher karecha baderech. If you need to summarize this sentence that I just read, three words. Karecha baderech. Karecha has many meanings in Hebrew. Karecha, one of them means he came to your encounter. That's one. Karecha also means he cooled you off. He turned you off. Let's say you're about to do something good and beautiful, and somebody gives you a cheap shot. What did he do? He turned you off. That was Amalek. It's like it says, one lesanut, one mockery, pushes away 100 Torah classes. One anger pushes away 100 berachot of parnasah. You follow me what I'm saying? One small deed destroys. I said a story on Shabbat afternoon. Something that happened in Miami last week. So you want to know what happened in Miami last week? I'm going to tell you a couple of things that happened, but one of them will be what I like to speak about. Miami. Nothing tragic, but funny, but scary. I think that last week there was the art museum, Art Basel, was Art Basel? Okay. Art festival. So there is a famous artist, but not artist, but a designer, maybe you call this? Designer, okay, who made a dog with balloons. A dog with balloons. Sticker price, $42,000.
Good deal.
That was cheaper than the banana on the wall, $130,000 a year ago. Remember that banana?
Yes.
Okay? But this is art. You can, if you and I may be laymen in art, we look at the art and we look, why he couldn't put the paintbrush where it's supposed to go?
$5.
He needed to be mishkebabble? No, come on. You see the mindset of the painter when he painted this color. He had this feeling when he used that color because he had feeling. Art is an art by itself. So these famous sculpturists, you can check them out. Put dog $42,000 balloon.
You know how to search.
Yes. I think the name of this artist, it's Kuhn or Kuni, K-O-O-N, I believe. And a lady did this. Let's make believe that this is the $42,000 balloon size, large size dog. You know what the lady does? She wants to know, it was shining. She wants to know, is it metal? If it's aluminum, it's aluminum foil. Guess what? She popped the dog on the spot.
Moteto.
Ah, look, we found them. Thank you so much. So I remember things. Shuf. Shuhada. $42,000 ticket price. She touched. Neyman Marcos is giving you 15% off.
$50 shipping, it says.
And shipping is $50. So bottom line.
They already come.
Shuf. Jeff Koons. Neyman Marcos is selling it for $14,000. Art Basel, $42,000. Shuf. I'm not exaggerating. Look at it. Before you spend $14,000 in a dog, I give you a couple of options.
Oh, over here. We need
Yes, I think that's sold. I believe 90, but I have another one.
What are we going to put there?
Another one.
Shahakot?
Whatever, all the miracles. Sheakol, La'es, Adama, Mezonot. Now, look at the dog. That's it. She touched it with a nail. She broke it. Now, can you imagine her reaction? One tiny touch destroyed it. What was the outcome? Now there is a debate in the museum on the spot. Can we buy the broken pieces to be autographed by the author? By the artist, thank you.
They sell it for more money.
They sell it for more money. This was the balloon that Mrs. So-and-so destroyed on the Art Basel day. $42,000 destroyed with a tiny nail.
They didn't sue her, Rabbi?
No. They said to her, do not worry. We have insurance. So that's it. She was off the hook. And it was a debate if to sell the pieces, to auction the pieces in the Basel Museum, whatever. Now, one tiny touch to a balloon, to a dog made out of balloons. Probably it's not a tiny, but it's high, so to speak. That's Amalek. Amalek means you have a beautiful thing in front of you. You want to do something great, but suddenly somebody teases you. Somebody says karecha. Karecha means turns you off, I think is the proper word, right? Or cools you off. That's the word kar. Kar means cold in Hebrew. He turns you off. You want to do something good, he turns you off. This is Amalek. Thank you.
Boy, Rabbi, I'm really,
I am a walking encyclopedia. I am.
that's what I'm trying.
I am so happy to be the way I am. Sometimes I believe that I know too many things.
No, it's just today.
This was last week's.
Wow.
So when I saw it,
God bless you.
I said, unbelievable. But you know what reminded me of?
Amalek.
Haman. Haman. Why? Haman had a similar issue like Amalek. Everybody bows down to Haman. Except one person. I ask you a question. If you sent in 500 invitations for a farah, for something, and 499 say yes, 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 take a gift, take a gift, take a gift, and one doesn't answer, are you going to get upset for that one?
No.
No. Haman couldn't stand that. Haman was more worried about that one person that did not bow down to him, like to the entire city of Shushan that bowed down to him. That's why the Pasuk in the Megillah says, Ish Yehudiya ya b'Shushan abira. There was only one Jew in Shushan. There were many Jewish people in Shushan, but he was the only one who stood up against Haman. By not bowing, and we explained this in the day of Rosh Chodesh, why Mordechai doesn't bow down to Haman, which we all know the answer based on Binyamin, the son of Yaakov Avinu.
Yes.
Now, another proof to this, Rabbi, I'm going to open up now the maftir of Amalek in Perashat Beshalach. This is the reading of the Purim day. Purim day, we read this Perashat. Comes the Pasuk and it says, Vayomer Moshe Yoshua. Moshe says to Yoshua bin Nun, Behalanu anashim, choose men, meaning to say suitable people to wage the war against Amalek. And we learned the other day in the name of the Zera Shimshon that Yoshua needed to select men that were born in Adar Sheni, the way it says in the Moed Kol Hai, Rabbi Chaim Palachi, and the Zera Shimshon, because there is no Mazal connected to Adar Sheni, those born in the second Adar, and because Amalek utilized witchcraft, those born in Adar Sheni, says Rabbi Chaim Palachi, en ma'aseh cheshafim sholtim alav. No witchcraft can affect them. So the only soldiers qualified to wage the war against Amalek, they needed to have the immune system or being born in the second Adar. Continue. Besei lahem ba'Amalek, and go and fight against Amalek. Mahar, tomorrow. Tomorrow is separated from the word Amalek. How is separated? By the ta'am, atnah. So if I need to read the pasuk, will be as follows. Vayomer Moshe liYoshua v'halanu anashim beseh ilachem ba'Amalek atnah. The next word, Rabia, mahar, tomorrow. What's the meaning of the word tomorrow? Tomorrow. You know the song, right? Good. I know you know it. Baruch Hashem, I don't know it. But I only know that line.
She knows the music.
Tomorrow. Now, you know what Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Yoshua? Yoshua, you want to understand who is Amalek? Amalek, it's hinted in the word tomorrow. How? You want to do something good. You want to do a chesed. You want to do a mitzvah. You're going to visit someone. you want to do something good, suddenly the inner voice says, why today? Tomorrow. And guess what? Like he says, tomorrow never comes.
Yeah.
I'll finish with 2 cute derashot. I gotta bring more resources tomorrow, because tomorrow you're gonna, if you're happy with today's class, tomorrow we're gonna bring from the holy books all the tikkunim that a person does by listening to Perashat Zachor this Shabbat. You'll be amazed at the spiritual benefits of listening to Perashat Zachor. Belineder, we do it in the morning. So, I heard this, and somebody told me that this Perashat was said in the yeshiva of the Mekubalim, Nahar Shalom in Yerushalayim. Somebody was there when one of the Hachamim gave a derasha about Amalek. So he explains that the word Amalek is actually 4 letters, Ain, Mem, Lamed, Kof, that has the poison and the antidote. The poison of Amalek and the antidote against Amalek. Let's talk about the poison, so we can finish with the antidote that is better. So it says 4 ways that Amalek comes to our life. We need to know from the get-go, Amalek will interfere usually when we want to do something good. If a person wants to do something wrong or inappropriate, Amalek will give the strength to do it. But if a person wants to do something good, these are the 4 ways of Amalek coming into our brain. So I have it in writing, so I say it to you beautiful. The Ain of Amalek is for Od Me'at, a bit later. The Mem of Amalek, Mahar, tomorrow. The Lamet of Amalek, Lo Achshav, not now. And the Kof of Amalek, Kasheli, is too difficult. I repeat, a bit later, tomorrow, not now, is too difficult. In Hebrew, these 4 statements make up the word Amalek. You want to do something good? Yeah, later. It happened to me today, by the way. Amalek came to pay me a visit. Sure. In the morning.
And you did it?
No, I struggled with him. I knocked him down by the 3rd round. By the 3rd round, he was out.
Should be the first.
No, I couldn't. You have to understand. He's a jack of all trades. And he gives me halachic reasons why I shouldn't do it. Sure. That's how Amalek, says the Baal Shem Tov, that many times the Yetzer Hara also represents himself as something good. He may come and say, Yosef, haram. The Rambam says that you have to sleep 8 hours a day. And you only slept 5.5. You can go to the 8 o'clock minyan. Okay? So what happened? I usually get up at 5. 5:05. I have 2 alarm clocks. For some godly known reason, the alarm wasn't set up. But it was good because the night before, I couldn't sleep. There was no air conditioning in our building for 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
Almost, yeah.
The marina.
Yes, it's fixed, Baruch Hashem.
Oh, fit.
Yeah, thank God, Baruch Hashem, yes. Thank God. Plus all the things, I wasn't able to sleep good 2 nights in a row. Kaparat Avonot. So I needed like 6 hours of sleep. So instead of getting up at 5 o'clock, I get up at 5:30. I get up at 5:30. By the time I get ready, it's 6:20, 6:30. Okay? I said to myself, at 5:30, if I'm going to rush, I will not make it to the nets. I really give my own justification. I I take my sweet time.
Good reasoning.
Good reasoning. And then I check my messages. I start answering questions, emails, very quickly. I said, I have a few minutes. Then I needed to do something that couldn't wait. I did it. By the time I came, the second minyan also started. So what did I do? I went to the nets, I spoke there. I went to the second minyan, I read and I gave the shiur there. And then I prayed in the third minyan. And then I'm here with you. My intentions were, get up early, pray nets, etc. The other one says tomorrow. You know how many times people tell me, Rabbi, you're not going to believe what happened. I say, what happened? I wanted to go visit someone in the hospital. And by the next day, the person was released already from the hospital. I missed the mitzvah. Some other cases, the end is worse. Didn't come home. God forbid. That's how many times it comes to a mitzvah. Now, at the third one, later. The fourth one is too difficult. All these four expressions are agents of Amalek. The question is, what vitamin do I take to fight it? Let's say if a person has a low immune system or has a cold, what they tell you, take vitamin C. If you want to know about which vitamins to take or not, speak to the doctor there. Raise your hand. Free advertisement for today, doctor.
Raise your hand.
That's it. Everybody knows him. No names to avoid issues with his DEA 8 license. Okay, it's not free promotion. But bottom line, he can give you a shiur about alkalinity, the acidity, right, doctor? All the things. I can talk like you almost. I take vitamins every day. So I know vitamin D, vitamin E, multivitamin.
Is it free?
And, you talk to him afterwards. But he has a beautiful office. So you can see in the office.
Oh,
Yeah, because he doesn't have the equipment here with him.
Later.
He has a machine. Don't ask. It's like a DNA for your neshama. You put your neshama on the scan and tells you, you gotta do this better, you gotta do this better, you gotta do. There is a machine, I think, that he has for the body. Unbelievable, right, doctor? Hazako Baruch. No commission, please. But it's called biofeedback. Very interesting system, very interesting system. I wish there is such a thing for the neshama.
Why?
I wish.
No good.
I know. So let's wrap the class today with the following 4 words. We need to know one rule in life. From the problem comes the salvation. It's connected. Problem, salvation, have the solution. So let's discuss the 4 areas in life hinted in the word Amalek. The 4 things in life that I need to improve. And if I improve in these 4 elements, I will get the spiritual vitamin to be able to go to war against Amalek. The Yetzer Hara. The same word. So we saw the 4 detrimental words of Amalek. Now let's talk about the 4 beneficial concepts connected to Amalek. The Ain of Amalek is Anava or Achshav. Thank you. Achshav. Now. Like the song says, the time is now. That's a kosher song. Abraham Fried. Bram Cover, no, that's not. The Bram Cover is the other song. Okay, check it out. The time is now, Abraham Fried. That means the time is now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Now, Mem, more spiritually connected. The Kedusha, the Mem is for Milah. Berit Milah, circumcision. In other words, reinforce your spiritual strength through the sanctity of the Berit Milah. That's why it's called Shemirat HaBerit. Okay? The Lamed is Lashon. How do you speak? The language. The language, I don't mean English or Spanish. I mean the vocabulary that we use. if it's clean, if it's positive, if it's complementing,
No
if it's
cursing.
uplifting, or God forbid, vulgarity, profanity, cursing, complaining, and derogatory words. So the word milah, interesting, milah. The Zohar Kadosh says, milah. They both are connected to sanctity. The third one, kedusha. Aim for holiness.
But the lamed.
The lamed is lashon.
Okay.
Lashon.
So Milan Lashon.
Milah is circumcision, holiness, and lashon is the way we talk. And the outcome of all this is kedusha. You're going to have a good immune system. How many times people, they tell you they need to get a shot because their immune system is low? Remember after COVID, people had challenges with the immune system, and they used to give this plasma, right? I think it's called plasma. Used to transfer plasma into the organism of the person to rebuild the cells. Because if your white cells and red cells are not where they're supposed to be, that's not good for the person. So this is how we build our immune system against Amalek. Achshav, now, milah, holiness, lashon, sanctity, personal holiness, lashon, how we speak, and aim for holiness. Shabbat, kashrut, tefillin, everything else good that we try to do. Okay, my good friends?
Yes.
Thank you. We say Tizkel HaMizvot to the generous sponsors of today's Sa'udah, Shai Segev and family, Le'ayun Nishmat David Ben Shushan Ben Zohara, and everybody else that sponsored today's class. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen Be'amen. Rabbi Hananiah מן הקשיא אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך, הרבה להם תורה מצוות שנאמר